Before we write the doubly class, we're going to write our node class. And that's because the node class, besides the main class, is really the heart of this program. So to write our node class, we are going to need three things for a doubly linked list. First thing, for any linked list, we are going to need a data value, a string data value, and that is going to return our value, whatever it is, as a type string. It's going to be private so that only our class can manipulate the value and anything outside cannot. We're going to make a private string. We're going to call this data. And the way that doubly linked list works is that it's not like a regular linked list. In a regular linked list, you just make your head something like this, and then it goes to the next value. So these are your lists, and then it'll go to the next value. And so this would be your linked list. You cannot go backwards in a regularly linked list. In a singly linked list, you can't. However, in a doubly linked list, you are going to have this next. So when we make our class, we're going to have a private node next, just like a regular linked list. But we are also going to have a private node prev. And this private node prev is just like this value points to this next value. It's going to point to the prev or previous node in our list. So we're going to have a pointer here and a pointer here. So they can look back at each other. It's pretty cool. And now we can see what is behind it as well as see what is before it, just like we've done previously. So that's kind of the basics of how a doubly linked list will look. And of course, this is going to be the head, and this is going to still be the tail. Now, minimize this and go back to the code. We are going to have our private. We are going to have the node because we are adding a new node. We're going to call it next, and then we're going to do the same thing, except this time we are going to have a private node, and it is going to be prev. So those are all of our private data values we're going to want to add into our node. So to do this, what we're going to need to do is make a constructor. It's going to be a public, as always, node, the name of the class. It's going to take a parameter of the data. So it's going to have string data. And then inside of here, we're going to do this dot data is equal to data. And that is our constructor. I'm going to just make it java.compatible and add a description for all of our methods. The next thing that we're going to want to do is make a getter and a setter. We're going to need a getter and setter for all of these values. So it's going to be kind of repetitive, but it's super important to do. It's essential to this program. So we're going to do that now. So this is our entire node class complete. You can see that I've added all the comments to them. So for the node class, we have our constructor first, and then we're going to have this getter for our data. We are then going to have this setter for our data, which sets the data. We are then going to have this getter for our next node, which is this value right here, as well as a setter for it right here. And then after this, we are going to have a setter for the previous node. And after this, we are going to have a getter for our previous node, which is this value. And then as well, we are going to have a setter for our previous node, which will set that node. So that is our node class complete, and we can finally move on to our doubly class.